Texas roots, where my heart belongs, where my heart belongs. Take me back to South Texas roots.
Hey guys, hope y'all can hear. My voice is kind of low. I don't want to shout too much.
You don't want to shout from the rooftops? Oh, well, it's been quite the week, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been rough.
Yep. They've probably already seen the Crocker's video.
Yeah, he explained a lot of it already.
Yeah, we just wanted to put our 2 cents in, and I know you guys are probably wondering. I've had messages too asking where I've been, and I just didn't respond to anybody, and wanted to wait till we had everything situated for the most part. There's still a lot of unanswered questions and procedures and all that. So
well, it was kind of a quick turn of events in the last week or so. I just kept getting worse and worse, and come to find out the L3 and L4 vertebrae, the cancer has lesions there, and was a partial fracture is what I thought was the sciatic nerve causing the issues.
you had prostate cancer. That's
Right.
the main
Right.
case they didn't know.
And it metastasized into my bones, and I had done real well until about a month ago when I was out mowing the fields, and that's when I was jarring around on the tractor and I hit a few bumps that I know they didn't feel good at all, but I didn't realize that I guess my bones were that weak, and it must have partially fractured it. And
So that happened when I was in Oklahoma,
yeah,
up there helping Jason out. So that was probably mid-May,
you know,
and you were sore off and on, right? You were, because since then we had built the fence around the pond.
right. I was managing my pain just with Tylenol and ibuprofen and
You thought you may
Aleve and
have
things like that.
pulled something, or
Because my groin, I had complained before about my groin areas would feel like they were, they would hurt, spike and pain down it, but it was all associated with the vertebrae there that was pushing up against the nerves, and like I said, it just continually got worse, and then I felt so I got on the tractor again, was just messing around in the yard. We had moved some rocks by the pool, and then I was flattening out some dirt, and I hit a few little bumps there. It kind of, I could feel it, but it wasn't all that bad. And then right after that, it just kind of went downhill.
yeah, you were being I don't know. We said not to do certain things, but you're going to do what you're going to do anyways. But
Right.
getting on the tractor, but
Yeah,
it was the last, I'd say 2 weeks. You started slowly getting worse and worse, and moving less and less, and
yeah, I just couldn't, my left leg, it went down both legs, but then it came back across to my left side. And that's why I was thinking it was sciatica. And during all my treatments that I was taking, the Provenge treatments and things like that, I kept telling them, my sciatica is bothering me. And I'm not realizing it wasn't, it could have been the sciatica nerve that was being rubbed on, but
you've had back issues in the past, hadn't you?
Yeah. And anyway, I decided one of the days a week ago or so, I thought, well, I want to get in the pool and float on a float. So Jared went and bought me an inner tube type float, and I would get out in the pool and just kind of hold on to it and let my legs dangle and take the weight off, the pressure off of my spine. And it seemed to help, and then I was trying to get out of the pool, and I got just about out, and my legs gave out, and I fell back into the pool. But
You were on the steps, still in the water. So when he says fell, he didn't fall like on the rocks or anything. He fell back into the water.
At least I fell back into the pool and got back out. but it was pretty.
Yeah, we're like, are you all right? You're like, yeah, or you just said like my knee just gave out.
It just gave out. I just lost all ability.
That was your right?
That was my right leg. It just gave out. And so right now, my left leg is the one that's been giving me the most issues, all the way down to my knee, all the way to my ankle. It's still numb and weak. But the other day, I got up at daylight and I was hurting so bad because I couldn't sleep all that night. I was on the couch.
It was 2 nights you were like that where you couldn't barely sleep and you wouldn't get off the couch during the day, and
yeah, just couldn't.
Just terrible pain.
And they had started me. I went to the doctor and they started me on some prednisone, steroids, and hydrocodone. But it just seemed like it was just not enough. And so as soon as it got daylight, I told Melanie I'm going to the pool. I can't stand this. So I went to the pool and got in there, and that didn't even help. And I couldn't hardly move from there. I couldn't hardly get out of the pool. I managed to finally climb out of the pool and was standing by the cabana, and Jared saw me because he had come over.
Mom had texted me, and it was like 6:45. They don't text that early for anything, and as soon as I saw Mom at 6:45, I was like, oh crap, what's going on? And she said, Dad had a terrible night. He's out in the pool right now trying to float it out. So put my coffee down, didn't even put my creamer up. It was still out when we got back. But showed up, like I said, he was floating in the pool, kind of on the deep end, with his head down, like floating inside the tube. And I said, you all right? And he just shook his head like no, didn't say anything. And I said something about, I'm taking you to the emergency room, because by this time we'd already been to OJ's office, which is his doctor. They've already given you the shot in the back and medicine. That was like the day before or 2 days before, and he just kept getting worse. And I told him, I said, we're going to take you to the ER if you don't get any better. And sure enough, that day, like I said,
I just couldn't move at all.
I came in to talk to Mom, and she said it's pretty bad. And I was looking out the window and saw him standing by the cabana up against the pole. And as I walk outside, he turned around, and shit happens. His face was beet red and he was crying. And he tried holding his pain in, and there's only so much pain you can hold in.
You know, I was just clenching. I couldn't hold the pain in. So anyway, he helped me in.
I was your human crutch.
And we got to the emergency room, and
that was a tough.
Oh, it was rough in there.
So shout out to Matt and Mom. They helped you first get in the shower, get you dressed, help you get dressed.
Right.
And then I took your car to go get gas, and like I said, I called Matt over to help out, and I said, hey, we're going to take Dad to the emergency room. I'm going to go to the store, get gas, fill up the car, all that stuff, put air in the tire. And then as I was at the gas station, I called Jason, which was like at 7 in the morning, and like he said on his video, I shouldn't be calling him at 7 in the morning. He knew something was up, and by the time I was done getting gas, talking to Jason and coming back, I see Matt's car come by. He kind of waved me down, but there was traffic there, so I didn't stop. He had already got you and was heading to the emergency room.
Yeah, we had already, because he had for some reason taken off early from work, and it's a good thing. But they took me up to the emergency room, and we sat outside.
Well, it was
in that old wheelchair for an hour.
We got there like at 7:30ish, 7:45, something like that in the morning, and you can't blame the hospital. I mean, they're just when they're busy, they're busy. And like I said, he was in excruciating pain, and he's in one of them little cheap, not even a wheelchair, more like a little push cart in there or whatever it was. It's very uncomfortable. And like I said, I called Jason and told him, he said, just let me know what's going on. And so I snapped a photo of Dad, which he didn't even know, and I sent it to Jason. I said, it's bad. I said, he's just in agony right now. And I said, we've been sitting here for a good minute inside the waiting room trying to get seen by somebody, and I don't know how long it was. It seemed like it was all day just to get into that room.
It was about an hour, I think.
And then finally they, I guess Matt went back with you because I wanted to stay with Mom because she has a hard time remembering some stuff, and in case I had any questions about medical stuff, I said, Matt, you go back there, you can answer all the questions. Mom and I stayed in the waiting room, just kind of biting our fingernails, kind of like waiting to see if we could hear anything, and was getting little updates here and there saying, y'all were back there for like over an hour, I think, before you even got medicine.
Yeah.
And then Matt had texted and said that the medicine was given to you, but it wasn't working. You were still in pain.
They gave me morphine and hydrocodone, or Narco, which is hydrocodone and acetaminophen, and it wasn't even touching it. So, they were wanting me to have an MRI done, and it said it was going to take an hour, possibly even 2 hours, because I had to do a CT as well. And
that was around, let's see, by the time Mom and I finally got to go back to see you, because you could only have so many people back there, we relieved Matt, we went back there, and the doctor had came in and said that they wanted to give you
they gave me an injection of, or intravenously, some dilaudid.
Honestly, I don't even. There's so much
It's
medicine.
something. It's stronger than morphine, and they gave me one, and then they had to give me another one after that, and
because he looked rough.
It finally started relieving the pain enough to where they could wheel me down and have the MRI and the CAT scan done.
Because I was saying, I was like, you all right, Dad? Like, obviously he wasn't. He looked freaking miserable. And then, like I said, they gave him that medicine, and it was no less than 5 minutes. You were
the second dose,
damn near almost unconscious. It seemed like
yeah.
You were just like, I said, looks like you're pretty relaxed. And the nurse, whatever, kind of joked around, said, yeah, he's pretty relaxed. And they said it's going to be about 2 hours for them to do the MRI. So Matt and Mom and I, we'd been there since 7:30ish, and we hadn't eaten or anything. We had just barely drank coffee, and after they wheeled him off, and it was going to be 2 hours that we had to kill, Uncle Vern, Aunt Therese reached out. They were going to show up. We told them not to, because you were getting the MRI done. We went to go eat and came back, and
we didn't really know what they were going to do until we got the MRI results. And then
that was about 12:30. When you were done, you got back to your room or the emergency room at about 12:30, and then we were kind of just waiting around to
get a room.
Yeah, to get a room there at the hospital in Kingsville, and everybody there was great.
Yeah, they were all really.
Like I said, I had kind of low expectations for them until the last trip we had with Mom, and like they exceeded everything. But we were in there till about almost around 2 o'clock, and then the doctor came in and said that they had an ambulance ready.
Yeah, they got it. They had it was
and they wanted to transfer
order
to Corpus.
To Corpus for a neurosurgeon to look at all my records and MRIs and stuff to see if they were going to have to go in and do surgery. And
so it was about 7 hours in Kingsville in the emergency room. Then it's an hour drive, which Matt went back home to get, because at that time I just said, I'm going to follow the ambulance. I had Mom with me. We followed you up there. Matt went home to get clothes and other stuff, because we knew at that point, if we're going to Corpus that late, we're going to spend the night. And got there. We followed you all the way up to where the ambulance turned into their section, which we couldn't go there. We went around, went through the emergency area and waited, and you got admitted to the emergency room, the holding area, like just a small room or whatever. The bed's not the best, the chairs and stuff.
Yeah, it's just an emergency room, holding room, and
just waiting for a
little tiny bed and
for the doctor to come in, and waiting for a room to be available. And that was around 3 o'clock. So at that point, we'd already been gone for 7 hours, 8 hours, something like that. And
yeah, we'd asked if the doctor was going to come in, and they said no, that he wouldn't come in. It was already like.
Well, I will say this. I wish communication would have been a little better in Corpus. At that time, Dad hadn't eaten anything and he hadn't drank anything, and they kept saying, I kept asking the nurses when they came in, can he have something to eat or can he have something to drink? And they said, well, we'll let you know. We got to talk to the doctor. And I asked about 4 or 5 different nurses and never got answers.
They wouldn't let me have anything.
They ended up saying
they did give me some ice chips finally, and
yeah.
And then they said that the doctor wasn't going to be seeing me he had already looked at the results of the testing and stuff, and he said he would see it first thing in the morning. So
You sent mom you didn't want mom stressing, which
Right.
is very understandable. None of us want her to be stressed.
I told Matt to take her home.
So we camped out for the night. We did a little stealth camp inside the emergency room. Yeah, that was very uncomfortable that night. He was
miserable. I mean,
No, you were miserable. I was just there. The bad thing was he was in pain, like extreme pain that whole time, and he couldn't get medicine at when he wanted it. He had to wait so many hours between each one, which is reasonable. I get it, but when he's in pain and he's asking for medicine and they say we can't give it to you until this time, it was a little frustrating. But I understand they're not going to over medicate you.
Yeah.
And the beds there were a little short. You were a little hanging over a little bit too much on there, and it was around 8:30, 9 o'clock. Jason and Danielle finally showed up. I didn't mean it to sound like that. They showed up. It was a long drive for them.
Yeah.
About an 11-hour, 12-hour drive, and they showed up, and they stuck around for about an hour or so. And
It was about 10 o'clock when they finally went to. Well, have we even gotten a room then?
who them?
Us. We were still in the ER.
No, we were still in the ER, and they decided instead of driving to Riviera, which is an hour, just go get a hotel room up the street, and then they could come back first thing in the morning. So that's what they did. Like I said, we camped out, and
all night until the next morning.
it felt like almost every hour we were up, either like somebody coming in for medicine or like you having to press the button to see if you could get medicine. And then they were checking like your blood, your vitals, all that stuff.
They were constantly doing stuff.
And it was bad just sitting there like watching him. I think I got an hour of sleep that night. There was 2 little crappy chairs with no padding on it. I don't know why they don't put better stuff in there, but
Anyway, the pain
it was bad.
was a 10 plus. I don't know how else to explain it. It was awful. And it's my lower back and down my legs, through my hips, through my pelvic area. My knee felt like it was exploding.
You couldn't walk or anything.
Yeah, I couldn't do anything. And anyway, it was about 7-ish that morning. Young lady came and said, well, we got you a room. And so right at that time, they brought my breakfast.
No.
Yeah, because they set it on my bed and they pushed me upstairs with it.
No, that's the following day.
We
Or
stayed
later.
all night that night, but at
I know,
7
but
in the morning.
That morning, the lady came in with food, and I said, I don't even know if you could eat this or not. And we said, if they brought it in here, it had like a certain type of diet on there, you ate it. We didn't get a room then. We stayed in the emergency room for like 30 hours.
Well, no, because we got upstairs and I took my breakfast. It was on my bed. They rolled the breakfast and I up to our room. That's what happened. And
I don't think that's right.
I think your hours are wrong. But
We didn't get a room till that afternoon. I'm pretty sure.
no, it was that morning they brought breakfast. And so they took me up.
I think you were medicated too much.
They took me up to that room. It was about 1 o'clock when we finally got in the room. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was later in the day when you finally got into there, because we were in that emergency holding cell, not really, but room, whatever. It was, like I said, it was probably from 3 o'clock on Wednesday till about almost 3 o'clock on Thursday, I believe, something like that, possibly.
The days are all mixed up.
And then, yeah, like I said,
When I finally got into the room,
which was nice, super nice room.
really nice rooms, and they have a couch that folds out to a bed, and they have a big recliner, and then my bed, and so I was doing okay. I was still hurting real bad. They were trying to keep me medicated with that Dilaudid and Narco and stuff like that, but it was still, the pain was just not going away. And another doctor came in and said, well, we're going to try a patch.
I didn't know that was.
what is it, a fentanyl patch.
I didn't know that they would do that.
Yeah, there's different levels of fentanyl, and they put it on its 72-hour patch. It starts out a little strong, and then your body just starts to absorb it, levels out, and lasts for 72 hours. So between the fentanyl, the Dilaudid, and the hydrocodone and stuff, it was maintaining my level of
Tolerable.
Yeah, I could like move a little bit. I could sleep a little bit.
I'll say that the second night we were there was so much better. The first night you were just in agony the whole night. Like I said, barely any sleep that night. The second night, I know I kind of fell in and out of sleep, and you were too, because I could hear you sawing logs every so often. But
Yeah.
you were pain-wise. I kept asking you throughout the night, "How you doing?" You're like, "I'm all right." Like he kept asking me how I was. Like, why don't you go home and go get some rest? And I was like, worry about yourself. You're the one that we're here for. Like, don't.
It gets difficult when you're up there at the hospital having to wait on people.
I mean, that was easy for me to sit in a chair and sleep versus you being in pain.
So we had physical therapy come in the middle of the night, and
we're going to continue this video. I'm just going to look. You can continue talking. I'm going to make sure this thing is still on, so we're not wasting our time talking.
they brought me this.
Yeah, we're still good.
Chest brace, or it's a back brace is what it is. Goes from my lower hips up my back and across here, and you pull it real tight and it holds you. So they don't want me to twist my spine because of the areas that were damaged.
So anytime you sit up or you have to walk, he has to wear
this.
And then when you walk, you're using
I got a walker.
A little walker over here. For the time being, we're gonna get him back to normal, hopefully here soon.
Yeah. So anyway, they came in and did their therapy and said that with the pain management that I have, which brought it down to where it was tolerable. Like right now, it's tolerable. It still hurts.
5 out of 10 is what you kept saying.
Yeah, it's about a 5.
Now, initially we were under the understanding that nothing was fractured.
Right.
When they first did stuff, and then
when they took the test in Kingsville, they X-rayed it, and they said they didn't see any fractures.
And that they said it was the cancer that had.
And then one doctor said that it's just where the lesion is. The lesions had fractured a little bit. It wasn't like my back is broken. It's just where the lesions are, it fractured, and that's what was causing the raw pain. Constant pain. But like I said, they with the fentanyl and the other drugs that I'm taking, tend to keep it at about a 5 level or a little bit less than 5, where it's tolerable. I much rather feel this way than how I was.
Because they haven't fixed you. You're just maintaining. They got you maintaining your pain level.
And so they said that they would let me come home yesterday.
Your days are all messed up. We showed up at the hospital first thing on Wednesday morning, and we got discharged around 2:00 on Friday.
Okay, so I've been here a couple
And
days.
today is Sunday. Yes, it's been a very long week. Very long week.
So anyway, I have to call my radiation oncologist
I don't know all the names to all these doctors. It's so many of them.
tomorrow and try to set up a therapy of some type of radiation treatment on the spine where those damages are, and hopefully reduce the cancer down to nothing or shrink it enough to where it's not rubbing on any of the nerves like it is right now. But
Because I don't know, the way you were bouncing around stuff, I said maybe you did fracture something. But then in the back of your mind, it's like, is it the cancer that's causing it? Like, I'm sure you thought the same thing.
yeah,
You probably
I
hadn't
wasn't really sure.
And none of us really were, but like I said, it's
Because
definitely
it just felt like sciatica really, really bad. And like I said, when it was going down in my groin area, I knew that wasn't sciatica on my right side. You know, sciatica goes down the butt and the legs and stuff like that. So I kind of figured that stuff was acting up. And it was just when I damaged it's just like the neurosurgeon told me. He said, look, he said, I love to do surgeries, he said, you know, but he said, I'm going to sit on my hands this time. He said, I'm not going to go in there and disturb anything, and it gets worse. So he's recommending that I see the oncologist, maybe do the radiation.
I don't know if it was the doctor, the one that was all in black, the one that told you that it was fractured. He said that's when you know you have a good surgeon, when he tells you that you don't have to have surgery.
Well, that is not going to do.
Yeah, that he's not going to do it, because he said a lot of them want to use their hands, but he said that's a sign of a good one.
So anyway, they determined they just wanted to get my pain management up to where I can be tolerated until I can go and do another treatment of radiation, and hopefully that'll do it.
But right now you're not out of the woods. I mean, it's still like
my left leg is very weak. I can't hardly put
one fall away from very much hurting himself, and like I said, no pool time for him. He will not be getting in that pool. First off, but you can't get that thing wet.
Right.
But there's really no point in you being in the pool right now.
Yeah.
We're gonna crack that whip on him, and
I'm just hoping that once I get the radiation, that
hopefully
it'll shrink it enough to quit rubbing on there, so my legs will quit hurting and my back. And like I said, my leg is still numb on the left side. When I put pressure on it, it wants to just give out, because it's just real weak. And
but you can get up. Like we were helping him out, keeping an eye on him and all that, but he can get up on his own and like go to the bathroom, stuff like that.
I just use the walker and have to wear this when I'm up.
Just there's accommodations right now, and it's slow going, but it's trying
getting
to
better.
Be safe about everything.
I'm going to beat it. It's just I need to, like I said, one step at a time. Next week I'm hoping will be one of the key therapies that will work, and go that route. And like I said, if I can just get the tumors to shrink down enough to not rub on the nerves, I think my back will get stronger.
Because you were saying that too, like with because you had the cancer, it spread all over, and then I remember, y'all probably remember the video, we were sitting right here giving the good news coming back from MD Anderson when they said everything was clear.
Yeah, that was when it went into my bladder, and I had doubled up on my protocols and got rid of the cancer that was in my bladder, but the ones that are in my bones are very, very difficult to eradicate. So that's why I'm saying I'm hoping the radiation it's going to be a directed radiation, I believe. They'll either inject something right next to the tumors and then go with the radiation, or it might just be an external blast. I don't know. I'll have to talk to my doctor about that, but that'll be this week.
And I already know the answer, but I know people will ask, what about chemo?
I don't want to do chemo. Chemo is just a poison.
He said it's his body and his choice.
You know, the radiation, if it's isolated like that, I'll do that. But chemo destroys everything. Good, bad, and the ugly. It kills everything. And you might as well just fade on out. My dad had cancers. He had 3 different kinds of cancer when he died. And he did the chemo. And when they told him that when it came back in his abdomen, he said no. He said, I'm not taking chemo again. So I know how he suffered with chemo, and I'm not going to poison myself like that. I'd just rather medicate myself and go on, but I'm not going to do chemo. And but
one day at a time. That's like the last video I put out on the side channel. That's what I named it, one day at a time. And I wasn't expecting the week that we had right after that, it just happened to be like boom, 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 and I could have updated something on YouTube, but there's, like I said on that video, I don't give a shit about YouTube, honestly. Like other than getting a paycheck, really. Like no, I'm saying like this is more important to focus on this stuff than try to put out a freaking video.
It doesn't mean for it to sound like that.
They probably understand, but
anyway,
we needed to address it anyways. But we show everything basically.
I'm just going to continue with my steroids and pain pills here, and with the fentanyl patch, and then, like I said, when I get that radiation, hopefully get that squared away next week, or at least start it. Get this behind me so I can get back to a halfway normal life.
We got to get you back on that roof on that house.
Not the roof, but at least I can.
He's not going to be doing any lifting or nothing like that. We'll make it through it however we got to do it, and you can just be the director of the movie.
Yeah.
And I'll be your actor.
Just never listen to me though.
Hey, we got to get your butt over there and check out the house, because he hasn't been, like I said, he's been camped out and on the couch quite a bit this last couple of weeks, and I think the last time you were over there was when I just finished doing the laundry room, the closet. I just finished that.
I haven't seen anything else.
You and Mom both haven't been over there since then, so just trying to chug along and do that. And basically this weekend was playing catch up. We did a little work in your yard yesterday, did a little bit of work in my yard today. Still got to finish it tomorrow.
Yeah, I got a sprayer coming too, so that you can
spray some fence line stuff. So not so much weed eating. It's just between my yard, your yard, and going down to Granny's and everywhere else. It's just
kind of make it easy without having to weed eat everything.
That's what we got going on, and I'll be like I said on the other video, I don't want to go out and have fun while you were in pain, but it's back to a manageable level now, and it's technically I got to do it for work because it's YouTube, so I have to go fishing on a video so I can do a review on a product that before the end of the month, so I don't have to pay for that product because I have a contract.
I bought one of those bathtub benches where you can sit down and pivot and slide over and sit in the tub while you take a shower. And
hell, I might have to use that when you're done.
And Melanie will, let me dry your legs. And I told her, I said, no. I said, I gotta do this myself, because
to an extent.
Yes, but I can't, I just can't have them doing everything for me. I have to do some of it. And so the more I can do without hurting myself, the better I feel about it.
I mean, you've been moving around pretty good. Like I said, the walker has been a very good help, and that ain't nothing saying he's a weak old man or anything, but it's just
it takes the weight off.
Yes, because before, like I said, when that was happening, we were kind of like trying to
hold
you up, and that was hard probably for you. This is a little bit more mobile for you to do, and I'm just hoping that when we go this next week, whatever we're going to be doing this next week, we'll kind of update you. We won't get into every detail on it, but this was just one of those things that was just
yeah, it came on quick. And
we're not the only people that go through this, but I show the good, the bad, and the ugly on my channel, and this is what is the bad and the ugly.
I feel sorry for all the people in the ER.
Oh my gosh, I gotta say this. Of course, everybody in that hospital has got their own issue, and Dad was pressing his button because he was in pain, and the nurses came in and the door was open. I could hear this poor old lady, because a lot of the doors were open. She was probably pushing 80, 85, and the nurse was helping Dad, and this poor old lady in the middle of the night, she is yelling, "Help, help," and oh man, it broke my heart. Because she was in there by herself too. There was a lot of people there by themselves, and I told Dad, I felt so bad for those people sitting in there by themselves. Anyways, that is, I don't know who that is.
They let it go to message or whatever. How do you ever do that?
It's going to ring for a little bit, so I don't know.
Sorry, people.
They'll hang up in a second, and then we'll end this video here in a second. Hopefully they don't let it ring 18 times. I wouldn't touch it because I have my...
I can't even read who it is.
Okay, I was going to tell you the name, but I didn't know who it was, but It's been a week. Mom's doing a little bit better too. Trying not to get her stressed out so much.
I just don't want her stressed.
She has her neurologist
Sometimes.
visit coming up. We had to reschedule that, but we'll be going at the beginning of this next month for that, so we can figure out what happened with her incident, figure out if there's any damage done to her brain or whatever else. It's so much. I'm so ignorant to all this medical stuff. It's so hard to keep up with
So many
all the medicine. We're always constantly asking Dad, "Did you take your medicine? When's the next time you take your medicine?" So we're on top of it with him, and
I got my alarm set.
he's doing better. We're not out of the woods though. It's still gonna be a long road. I think at least in the future here, and then hopefully at least they can get that taken care of. And
As long as I can keep the pain down.
Yes,
where
that's
I
the main
can walk
thing.
again. You know, that's the main thing. You know, I'll probably have to wear this back brace, but that's okay as long as I can walk around.
I mean, at least it looks kind of cool and not like super dorky.
Uh,
He said it reminded him of his police vest when he was a
Yeah.
police officer, like his bulletproof vest, trying to get it real tight.
yeah, but I mean, I'm doing okay.
One day at a time. That's all you
That's
can
all we
do.
can do is just, you know, keep the pain down and look for better treatments. You know, it's not over.
Yeah. So
Still this side of the ground.
that's what I told him when he was out at the pool. Like I said, when I could just tell he was at his level 20 in pain, I said, "You ain't giving up on us this easy." So you got to push through the pain, and I'm sure it was good seeing your little grandbaby.
Oh, it was
If it's
so
a boy or
sweet.
girl, we don't know yet. Wink, wink.
Rubbing on that little belly. It was so sweet touching the baby.
But yeah, it was good seeing them come down, and I'm sure that was a morale boost for you
Yeah.
for them to come. Even though he was saying he didn't want anybody to.
Well, it's so much trouble, you know, doing travel like that.
Yeah, when you get a phone call saying that your dad is in the emergency room in excruciating pain, you're gonna stop what you're doing and make a trip down. And like I said, they were only down I don't know, maybe a day and a half, and had to go right back. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It was good seeing them, and they bought us a nice little lunch on the way out. Got some barbecue and
Yeah.
did that. So, you got anything else for them? I'm sure this video is probably extremely long, but
Probably is pretty long. No, I'm just hanging in there day by day. I am better than I was pain-wise, so they're managing it fairly well. And just looking for better days ahead.
and I'll probably do more updates. I usually do more updates like that on the side channel rather than the main one. The main one's just actually doing work and all that good stuff. But if you want to follow along more, I'm sure we'll film on the way to Corpus, and anytime we go to the doctor, we'll try to do a little update video. You might not hear every detail, but we'll let you guys know. And appreciate everybody for all the kind words. You already know the comments are going to be.
Yeah.
I already know how the comments are because we know how the viewers are. They're very nice.
I appreciate y'all, all your prayers and thoughts and well wishes, and you know, it's just one day at a time. I mean, I'm gonna beat this just one day at a time.
Yeah.
So,
I'd rather him beat that than beat me. So, so anyways, we're going to end this one. Once again, send y'all prayers and stuff. Y'all already know what to do. I'm sure he'll be looking at the comments, and if y'all have been in that situation and you know any kind of thing that could help him out, y'all know what to do. Comment down below, and I'm sure he'll take a gander at it. And
yeah, and I can empathize with a lot of them that have commented already. You know, if they've lost loved ones and they themselves have suffered, and you know, it's just, you know, like me suffering like this, I feel more sorry for other people.
that's what I said, like
You
that,
know.
that old lady and that man is
Yeah.
just so bad.
Kids that have to go through stuff like this, it's just horrible. You know, I feel so sorry for them.
I'm going to end this on a good lighter note. Dad was talking about shaving his beard
Yeah,
because he said he looks too old with all that white hair.
yeah, I may end up doing that.
That's what I did, and it's already come back. The last video I did was right when I shaved, and it's already.
Mine doesn't grow back that fast anymore.
Mine grows pretty quick, but man, it's just starting to turn more white. It's just. We need a break. We need some good stuff to happen. So,
I need to get a better haircut and I'll always cut it myself, and I can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get Matt to.
Yeah, he's seen me cut my own hair.
Yeah,
That's
I
not
think
very
I'll
good.
get Matt to help me out.
All right, let's wrap this crap up. I'm sure it's 45 minutes by now. So
Boring stuff.
appreciate y'all for watching, and we will catch y'all on the next one.
Better
Peace.
news later.
All right, guys. Have a good night. Oh, let me get this ended and.
Take me back to South Texas roots, where my heart belongs, where my heart